Today we've got the Voigtlander 35mm f2 Macro APO Ultron lens. So this is a DX lens or APS-C lens made by Voigtlander for the Nikon Z system, which is why I've got it on the Z APS-C.
And I've got FM3A.
Of course. But this lens is specifically designed to be a wide angle macro. So we're going to take a bit of macro. We're also going to try and use it as a general purpose lens and see how it performs.
You need to have a massive depth field, or probably need to use some stacking, isn't it?
Yeah, stacking would be ideal. You can't stack with a Voigtlander manual focus lens without having a rail and everything, unfortunately, but you can't really handheld stack with it. But I'm kind of going for having a little trail of
blur.
Exactly that. So I'm going to try it at a couple of apertures and see what it does. You can focus so close with this lens, it's ridiculous.
Oh, are you one of these?
What you doing?
I'm just trying to get the colors of this tree and shooting at different apertures to see if I can get it. It's a very pale yellow. It doesn't show up on the camera in the same way.
That is true.
But it is really nice.
So you'll Photoshop it?
I don't use Photoshop.
You'll Microsoft Paint it.
Yeah, I'll put it through Microsoft Paint. That's what I'll do.
Or Microsoft Clip Art. Okay, Microsoft Paint with Microsoft Clip Art.
Look at all this lichen. Con's trying to steal my shot.
That was my shot. I spotted it.
Lies.
You lying.
Lies.
All right, I'm shooting at 3.5.
Yeah, I shot 2.8. That was what I could get away with.
Look at that. That's like a Christmas shot almost. All right, let's see how close I can focus with this. Oh, that's pretty close. Wow. Okay,
You're practically in it.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna stick it to well, let's do f2. Okay, again, you get a depth of field shift on this lens. Okay, I'm just gonna stop it down now.
I like the fact that you can create a very different image with a wide angle macro because you can fit so much more in. You're not necessarily just focusing on one subject, you get quite a bit of the background. So it gives you something that the Nikon macro lenses don't necessarily provide. Now I know what some of you are going to say. You're going to say, well, Nikon have a 50mm macro and this 35 being an APS-C lens is also 50mm on a DX camera. That's true, but this gives you a true 50mm on an APS-C camera, while if I used my 50mm macro, which I love very much, the Nikon MC lens, then it would be about 75 on here. So it's nice to just get that slightly wider field of view. Obviously, if you've got a full frame camera, then the 50 is the solution for you. Con's out of his depth around the flowers.
I know. I can see my shadow even.
Yeah, you know. It's very bright.
Can you hold the reflector for this flower that I'm about to take?
Sure. Sad flowers.
That's the name of this. Yeah, that's the name of this video. I photographed this sad flower, and that happened. It is sad.
Oh, get the ladybird.
Okay, so the problem is I'm a shadow. I'm the shadow now.
You are the shadow. See if you can get this little ladybird here with this macro lens.
All right, I'm gonna focus on the closest focusing distance, and then let's see. Actually, this is, oh my God, this is pretty close. About to take off, and I'm there for it.
Did you get one?
Yeah, it was here, and then it was gone.
Oh. It's quite good to get the starburst with this one, because you see how sort of starbursty the Voigtlander lenses are, but they're nice.
Mm-hmm.
Quite pleasing if you like that sort of thing. A couple of things I've noticed. Obviously it's a macro lens, so it's a lens that's going to work better at closer focusing distances. And I have noticed when I'm shooting at infinity, the wider apertures are not particularly sharp. So if you're going to use it as a general purpose lens, you're better off sticking it somewhere between sort of 5.6 and f8. But unlike the Nikon macro lenses, the aperture doesn't change when you're at your closest focusing distance. Obviously, the amount of light you get in does actually change, but because it's a manual aperture mechanism, you don't see that happening.
Are you trying to get a spider web?
I am.
Nice.
Quite hard to focus on a spider web, which is basically transparent.
Well, sprinkle some water on it. It looks much better anyway.
It's true.
That's why I carry always a spray bottle with me.
Just to make the shot.
Exactly. So here we are at the end of this video, and that means we need to make some conclusions.
There are cheaper options in the macro lineup, the Nikon macro lineup.
That's true. But however, if you have a DX camera, then the 50 that Nikon has is actually 75, which is actually good for macro photography. But if you would like this slightly wide angle of view, then 35 gives you 50mm, and you don't have any other option in Z native lineup.
Yeah, I like the fact that you can also use it as a little bit more of a general purpose lens. The 35 1.2 has a very particular look, and I'd say that this doesn't really overlap that, but it can be definitely used as a general purpose lens. The place where I struggled actually was shooting wide open at infinity. That's not its strongest point, but shooting very, very close up, wide open, seems pretty sharp.
Yeah, absolutely. I still would choose 35 1.2 for day-to-day street photography, but if you need the macro facility, this is a really nice lens.
If you take pictures of flowers and mushrooms, like me.
All right, so let's talk specifications. Since you all love it, all I know, it's very light, 290 grams only, and it's got apochromatic design. Apochromatic design means two things: very sharp and very expensive.
It also has 10 diaphragm blades. That means it's got some really lovely rounded looking bokeh and 9 elements in 6 groups.
That's pretty good. So the bokeh is amazing.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about close focusing distance and reproduction ratio, because for macro lens, obviously, this is the most important thing.
That's right. So the closest focusing distance is about 16 centimeters, which is pretty close. And the reproduction ratio is 1:2. So although it's not going to give you 1:1 like all the Nikon macro lenses of the current Z generation, it doesn't do too badly.
I'm sorry, the most important part actually we forgot about is the looks. Look how pretty it is. Incredible. I mean, as I love with all the Voigtlander lenses, and I say it on every single video, it's just the build quality is beautiful, and also they're pretty to look at. If you want to look the part, the vintage part, then this is definitely one of the lenses to choose. Like a 40 prime that I have on my Nikon FM3A.
It also comes with a metal lens hood supplied. Last thing to mention is the price. It's not one of the cheap ones. It is about £650 in the UK at the moment at the point of release. However, it is a little bit more special than your average lens, and as you can see, it looks beautiful on the Z APS-C.
Great source means that other stock is a Voigtlander lenses. So if you've got a Z camera and you're feeling like having a Voigtlander lens, we are the people to talk to. We also have a bunch of reviews on our YouTube channel on Nikon Voigtlander. So check us out as well.
There you go. Thank you very much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video.
Give us likes and maybe subscribe. And also Keep super thanks if you feel like this video is super useful to you.
That's right. And if you'd like us to test out or review any other lenses, drop it in the comments below.
There's more Voigtlander lenses coming out, so we will be reviewing those as well.
Watch this space. Yeah. And 9 elements in 6 groups. And then I got hit by the wind started when I started to talk and I got hit by a tree. Let me do it like this with the tree on my head.